AI taking our jobs. This train's continuing.
Tesla has officially brought its robotaxi service to Dallas and Houston, while Waymo has hit Nashville officially. So Tesla launched its unsupervised robotaxi service in Dallas and Houston this week, and there's no safety driver, no human in the car, and I think it's a little bit shots fired. But they even said there's no autonomous piloting of it because I think there was some accusations of backup drivers in like the Philippines using an Xbox controller piloting some of these vehicles. So they're not truly autonomous, not truly AI, but it appears like we're actually getting this in major cities, not small cities. Dallas and Houston. You used to live in Houston, so you know it's one of the biggest cities in the country, and they're getting robotaxis now. So I think they're very deliberately targeting major cities in the South and in Texas because that's where Tesla is headquartered, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe they have a huge presence there. But yeah, Tesla's unsupervised robotaxi means no human safety driver in the vehicle. So they've been running this, I think, for a few months in Austin and the Bay Area as well, so around Silicon Valley. And Waymo separately expanded its public robotaxi service to Nashville, adding its existing fleet in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Austin. So looks like we're getting driverless taxis everywhere in the U.S. You know, I don't think you've been there in a while. I haven't been back to the U.S. in a while, but I have a feeling the next time we go back, we're not going to see any human Uber drivers anymore. It's just going to be all robotaxis.
Yeah. Like here's to Johnny Cab. This is exciting considering that it's not just one player that's leading the charge. The fact that Elon Musk with Tesla decided to step into the game means that there's technically competition. Waymo was the big dog, and now Tesla's stepping in. And so now it's a competitive landscape. When you think about autonomous driving, and we talked about this a number of times before, the software is eventually going to get to a place where it is commoditized. And that means that everyone's going to have to adhere to the same safety and legal regulations around driving a car on the public roads, which means that there's like one goal to work towards, and that's increasing safety and reducing the likelihood of accidents. And as companies like Tesla and Waymo and other AI software service providers develop autonomous driving software, and there's a lot of different robotaxi platforms that exist out there that they can potentially use. This is going to mean great competition, and everyone's going to stand to benefit. I love seeing that's being rolled out in Dallas and Texas because Dallas and Houston, because those are difficult cities to drive in. Honestly, there's a lot of craziness in the road. But I'm very, very optimistic about this, and I'm excited to see what happens. In the next year. This is a very, very fast rollout, and I don't think that they're going to get a lot of pushback here, right? There's ride sharing is huge in U.S. cities, and it's only going to grow as people are deciding to kind of ditch owning vehicles, at least multiple vehicles.
Yeah, I think it was just a few weeks ago we saw that, was it Waymo hit 500,000 weekly rides, which is no small feat. And then I think Uber, was it last week or the week before, that Uber just deployed a significant chunk of capital to get in on the action too. I think they're seeing the signs already that they're going to have to get competitive in this market, and they're not just going to sit idly by. They're going to get in on the robotaxi market as well.
Yeah. I mean, the sad part is that they are putting for example, Uber is putting their own, they're not really employees. They call them like contractors or whatever is convenient for them financially. But they're putting them out of work, unfortunately. So, AI taking our jobs, this train's continuing.
Well, at least we know that in Southeast Asia, they're not going to have autonomous scooter drivers anytime soon. So Grab drivers are safe. It'll be too chaotic.
Up next, speaking about more robots taking people's jobs, Siemens and NVIDIA deployed a humanoid robot on a live factory floor in Germany this past week. This is not a demo. It's a real production environment with real workers alongside it. The robot is the HMND 01 built by the UK startup named Humanoid, which is such a wild name for a humanoid robot company.
It's powered creative.
Yes, super, super original. Powered by NVIDIA's physical AI stack, and deployed at Siemens Electronics facility in Erlangen, Germany, and that's a live production facility. The robot's tasks include picking up totes and packages, transporting them, placing them at designated points for human workers, and that's about it. I mean, just some hard labor. Apparently, the robots were able to run autonomously for 8 hours at a stretch, with 90+% task completion rate, moving 60 heavy containers per hour and running alongside human workers and other automated vehicles with no incidents. Very interesting that they're measuring it by task completion rate. I wonder what that 10% of tasks were that it failed. Was it like the battery ran out, or was it like, I just can't do that, man? There's no possibility.
I
But funny enough, Siemens called. This was one of Siemens' facilities. They called this their own factory customer zero, stating that they used their own production facility as this test ground, which was a validation of that NVIDIA and Siemens partnership announced earlier this year at CES in January. So very exciting, but again, putting some people out of the jobs. It must be hard to be a factory worker and seeing like the future of, like the person that's going to take your job.
Yeah, it's weird. You're like kind of training your replacement at the same time. Like it's reminiscent of those times when they would have these massive worker strikes and they'd bring in the Pinkerton agency and then they would throw rocks at scabs, like the people coming to take their jobs and do them for cheaper because they were undermining the strike. And now we're going to probably see something similar in the future. But it's weird. Like, imagine being like, "Hey, not bad. Like, hey, everybody, take notice. Look at this guy. He's making you all look bad." And yeah, it's
Awful
kind of like,
manager.
yeah, and it's like I don't know. I'm sure they're far smarter than I am, so maybe it's completely safe. But we saw a little bit of like malfunctioning robots out in the wild so far, and working in a controlled setting in a factory. Like maybe it's safe, but I don't know. It won't surprise me if we start seeing more workplace accidents with these humanoids.
Yeah, it's going to be some robot human lawsuits for sure.
And this one's really cool. Our third story in the deep tech department. But engineers at Northwestern University have actually figured out a way to print artificial neurons that can talk directly to real brain cells. If you still have brain cells, that is. I know a lot of people these days don't. But this is a physical device that talks to your brain, sort of like Elon Musk's. I can't remember. What is it? Neuralink.
Neuralink, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit like that, but works a little bit differently. But these artificially printed neurons are physical devices, not software models, and they generate electric signals that living brain cells can actually receive and respond to. And the devices are flexible, which matters because the brain moves and shifts. Rigid implants cause damage over time, and flexible devices can move with the actual tissue. So they're pretty low cost to produce, obviously in a limited capacity. They're not. This is not like a major tech startup or anything. This is a university that's doing research, but this matters for scalability eventually if it's low cost to produce. And previous brain computer interface technologies have required like extensive surgical implants, which limited availability for whoever wants to get them. I don't know about you, but I don't think I would ever want anything like that in my brain. But yeah, Neuralink has been working on brain computer interfaces for years. So the research suggests that there is an alternative pathway that could be a hell of a lot cheaper and more flexible than what Elon Musk and his company Neuralink are actually building right now.
Yeah, it's funny looking back at some of those like future sci-fi films, how accurate some of them are going to turn out to be. Like we are really turning people into cyborgs and then building AI to replace humans. That's been the theme of the weekly recap so far. But again, always a huge fan of seeing incredible scientific breakthroughs. This type of technology offers some amazing solutions for people that may have suffered from brain injuries or have some sort of problem when it comes to actual neurons within their brain. So this is a huge breakthrough. I know Northwestern is one of the top and leading innovators when it comes to engineering and science within the U.S. So really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it too. I saw a video like last week. I think there was a guy. I think he's the first one to try the Neuralink, and he had like a really bad full body injury, paralyzed from the neck down, and he's able to play like World of Warcraft with his brain right now. Like it's unbelievable. Like
It's
you
wild.
can see him like jumping around, and it looks a little bit awkward. Obviously, he's not as dexterous as like people using their hands and a keyboard, but it's incredible that we can even do that so far.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%.